Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be removing that tree stump. Couple tips and tricks on how to do so, basically in an affordable way. You don't have to rent a stump grinder. Again, this is a small stump. It's only, maybe 3-4 inches around. But yeah, let's get after it. All right, recommendation number one, let's dig a trench around it. Again, we might run into some issues here, well, depending on how big these rocks might be. But as you can see, here's my palm. It's not a huge stump. So, all right, let's get after it. All right, not too bad. I only had a few rocks that came out of there, so a little pile here, but there's definitely a few more I need to get out. But so yeah, the main point now is the recommendation I have. If your soil's really hard, really compacted, fill it with water. This is where you need to be patient. So I know I'm watering a stump. Listen to me. I've torn out tons of stumps in my day. One thing you want to do is let it, basically what that water is going to do, it's going to seep down, let it disappear completely. Believe it or not, the more patient you are, the easier this will be. You can fill it up a second time, the hole, and let it soak in. What that is going to do is soften that soil up drastically, so that when you either put your rope, your tie strap, your chain, whatever you decide to wrap around this thing, it will rip it right out of the ground. All right, that wasn't too bad. So we dug down about, anywhere 6 to 8 inches around the entire stump. Got a couple rocks out, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. So here's the next tip now. I'm going to recommend that you fill this with water. Now, I know what you're saying. Wait, water the stump? Yes. You're going to want to fill this up to basically as much water as it'll hold. Be patient now. As soon as that water soaks in, it's going to soften this dirt. Now, if your soil's not as soft as mine, or say it's, clay or super compacted and rocky and hard, you're going to want to do this maybe more than once, twice. The more times you do it, what you're doing is softening that soil. All right, because I'm stubborn and a redneck, I am going to just simply not fill it with water. I got my chain. Probably can barely see that. Chain is hooked up to the stump, and we are going to get after it and see what I can do. Just pulling it without any water in the hole. Here goes nothing, first try.
Yeehaw.
All right, so we got our first attempt, which was a dry run with no water. Now let's fill this baby up and see how much easier it is on the second. I know it's hard to tell, but this is all filled up with water. It's just kind of swampy and soupy looking. All right, I'm gonna let this sit for a little bit, and then we'll give it another tug here. All right, it's been about 20 minutes. Most of that water's kind of seeped in. Here's your next clue. Sound familiar, anybody? That's right, it's a Sawzall. Sawzalls are awesome. For those of you guys that don't have one, immediately pause the video and go get one. No, I'm just kidding. You can go bang on your neighbor's door that's got one and borrow all his tools. I'm sure we've all got that neighbor, right, that's got everything you can borrow. So go get one, and I'm going to show you what you would do next before we even rip this thing out. So you can imagine, obviously, there's different roots that kind of go in different directions. I dug around this one in the front. Ideally, you want to cut the ones in the back, because as I'm pulling it this direction, right, it would just flop over and roll, give me access to cut the rest. But I'm going to start with the front ones here and see what happens, just because I don't have access back there. There's a huge rock. So anyway, I'm going to cut here, and then go from there. I notched it out, took that little chunk out right there. So hopefully it's going to pull towards us. All right, guys, so one big tug and it popped right out with that water. I'm telling you, water is the trick. Now, instead of digging around and doing a whole bunch of work, I'm literally going to turn my truck around and pull it the other direction and see if I can just pop it out of there without any more labor and digging. Work smarter, not harder, guys. Never Never looks like much on the surface, but pop that guy out, man. He's got some long roots on him. So anyway, yeah, guys, again, the trick and tip is definitely add water to your hole. Now you got all this backfill, you can just fill it back in.